What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we have Dixon Dedman's first official release of 2XO, the Phoenix Blend. We're very excited to try this here on this channel. Everybody knows before we get started, though, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. This one's going to be good. So here's the deal. The Dixon Dedman story, I don't know why, but it just jumped out to me and it very much intrigues me. I've never been the type of person that cared too much about the behind the scenes when it comes to whiskey. The name on the bottle, who it happens to be, the company that produces it, all because I feel like reputation is one thing, but you've had plenty of people put out bad bottles or overpaid for bottles that have Jimmy and Eddie Russell's name on it. Russell's Reserve 13 just comes to mind, where you're not always going to love exactly what they're blending. Now, you can find somebody that you think you're going to enjoy and start to follow them, and I think Dixon Dedman is going to be that guy for me. Now, this bottle here is called 2XO, which stands for 2 times oaked. This is a blend of 2 different Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys. We do not have an age statement on it or a mash bill, but we know one of the mash bills is a medium rye, while one of the mash bills is a high rye. And there's a lot of double oak stuff out there on the shelves today. A couple of my favorite, Old Forester 1910, as well as Woodford Reserve double oaked, both fantastic pours. And it intrigues me that they picked 2 times oaked for the name on this, just because I feel like that kind of limits him to every time he puts out a release. Is it going to be double oaked? Is that the only thing he's going to do with this particular company? I don't think so. I think he has enough in his bag that he can basically pull out anything. But again, for this one being called 2 times oak, hopefully they put out new products when it comes to 2 releases each year, I believe, as well as a single barrel release. As you know, though, we're going to go with price, taste, drinkability, starting with drinkability. This is coming in at 104 proof. Let's take a sip and see what we think. I will say this, when I first opened this up, it did have a little bit of a burn when it came to the neck pour, as is tradition, right? Now it's been open for about a week, and I will say it does have a little bit of heat to it, but nothing crazy. Let's remember this is a high rye as well as a medium rye mash bill, so that's definitely going to give us a little bit of a spice, a little bit of a burn, but we can't equate that to the ethanol kick, which is what we're using when it comes to drinkability. At 104 proof, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's exceptional by any means, but let's take another sip and find out. We're going to need to pour another glass of this tonight. That's a hint for how good this tastes. But when it comes to drinkability on this, again, nothing crazy. I don't think it drinks over its proof. We always start at 8 if it drinks at its proof. I think it drinks a little bit under that 104 proof range. I'd probably call this like a bottled and bond. So let's give it like an 8.35 when it comes to drinkability on this. As I mentioned, a little bit more for the tasting profile. Without knowing the age statement on these, it does bother me a little bit. There's 2 whiskeys in here and we don't know the age statement on either of them. I don't think it's exceptionally old by any means, but I definitely don't think it's younger either. The 2 times oaked can definitely hide some youthfulness, but at the end of the day, it does taste like it's maybe in that like 7 to 10 year range when it comes to an average age for this whiskey. But let's try this again and get some tasting notes. Listen, Dixon Dedman is obviously one of the names in the games when it comes to the blending process, but you also have to give him good whiskey to start with. And from what I understand, the company that he's with now has a plethora of options when it comes to whiskey he can choose from. And this bottle shows what his range can be. This bottle right here is absolutely what I love when it comes to a flavor profile. You're starting out with your vanillas, your caramels, a little bit of sweetness on the front here. You're moving your way right into some berry notes. I buy blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries almost every week now for myself and my daughter, and they are absolutely exceptional, and you can pick out almost every one of those in this glass right here. Then you move into that rye spice, that high rye and that medium rye at the end of this glass, and the oak does not take over. It's a sweet oak. It's not like a dense oak or anything like that, which I was afraid of when it came to the 2 times oak, that the oak would take over, but it does not do that at all. Exceptional when it comes to the flavor profile. I'll be honest with you, if you could have taken that drinkability down just ever so slightly and make this taste a little bit easier when it comes to the ethanol kick, again, it's not bad by any means. We gave it like an 8.3 something, but if you could take away a little bit of that heat on the end of this glass would be absolutely phenomenal. Again, still a delicious glass. One of my favorites when it comes to a flavor profile. We got to put it mid to high 9s again, and we've had a few of those lately. Let's go like 9.57. It's that good when it comes to taste. About a week ago, I posted a picture of this bottle on Instagram, and since then, a few people have reached out and said to me, Chris, this bottle's on my shelf. It's $100. Should I go out and buy it? Which is MSRP for this bottle. So if it's $100 on your shelf, at least they're not ripping you off. And it's always hard to justify spending other people's money, right? I don't know what it's worth to you. I can only tell you what it tastes like and what I feel about it. So for me, $100 to put a brand new bottle on my YouTube channel is definitely worth a little bit more than if I'm not doing a YouTube channel. The Dixon Dedman story, to me, is a little bit more valuable than not having that story behind it at all. His first blend, all of that goes into it. But we don't do that here on this channel. I don't care about all that nonchalant stuff. I care about the taste of the whiskey, the profile of the whiskey. Is the actual whiskey worth $100? And that's a whole different question. Let's take another sip and find out. The answer is overwhelmingly yes. I mean, what are we looking for here? Pretty good drinkability. The flavor profile, if you align with my flavor profile, if that's why you watch this channel because you've seen a few videos and you say, yeah, I agree with that, or you've seen a video that says, I don't like that one, and you say, yeah, I agree with that as well, I think you're going to like this bottle a lot. It gives me everything that I'm looking for in a bottle of whiskey. And to be honest with you, the whiskey market just keeps going up because I think they're moving more towards these limited releases, right? Supply and demand. You can raise the price of a bottle if you lower the supply of it. And I think that's what Dixon Dedman and this company is doing. They understand the value that he brings to the company. So if you put out limited releases as well as a single barrel here and there, I bet you can get some good money for it. And $100, if you ask me, isn't a bad price. What do you guys think? I'm going to give it like an 8.97 when it comes to price on this. $100, absolutely a big ask, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's anything outrageous. 8.97 when it comes to price for this bottle. But listen, while I had these scores up, let's send it over to this week's Bourbon Bomb of the Week and learn about who is this Dixon Dedman guy I keep talking about. Let's do it. Cheers, y'all. So I've said his name enough, but let's say it one more time. Dixon Dedman. He is a gentleman that used to work for a company called Kentucky Owl. You've probably heard of it. And this is why I was a little bit worried going into 2XO. I did not like the Kentucky Owl that I had. Now, I don't know what batch it was because at the time when I was doing reviews, I didn't really look that far into the whiskey. I just drank it and told you what I think about it. But at the end of the day, he batched up to batch 10 when it came to Kentucky Owl. So if you see anything batch 10 all the way down to batch 1, that has his name on it, but he didn't do the St. Patrick's Day and he didn't do the Japanese whiskey I believe they put out as well. He had nothing to do with those releases since then. And Kentucky Owl wasn't just some side project for Dixon, right? This was actually resurrected from his great-great-grandfather's company, and he did this in 2014. In 2017, he ended up selling it to Stoli, and it seems like between 2017 and 2020 when he left, there was some bad blood between him and the ownership in the company. And he talks about this on a podcast. I don't know how it doesn't have more views. Maybe you're listening to the podcast rather than watching it on YouTube like I do, but you should check it out. I'll link it above as well as put it in the description. He tells the entire story of his side of the story, which is very interesting to me. And this was interesting for a couple of reasons to me, but the most important one is the fact that he was willing to leave Stoli because of what seemed to be shortcuts that they were taking, and he didn't want to put his name on any of the products that he did not truly believe in, which means reputation is very important to this man. And I can respect that, especially the way the industry is today, where it just seems like anybody's just throwing any old thing on the shelf, putting limited edition on it and making you buy it, especially something like Kentucky Owl, which is coming out with $300 bottles. They wanted to put Dixon's name on it. They wanted to sell it. They wanted to make money, and he did not believe in what they were putting out. So he left. He did consulting for a little while, and that's when he ended up making the 2XO brand. And listen, Dixon Dedman will probably never see this review right here, but if you do, sir, I respect you. I appreciate you holding up the values that you have when it comes to this whiskey industry, because it seems like a lot of people are folding on that right there. But hey, this one's to you. Cheers. So this dude is not a sellout by any means, but you know what's going to be? This bottle right here. This came in at an 8.96. Not a bad spot for this bottle at all. Definitely room for improvement, but at the end of the day, this is the first bottle that he put out under the 2XO label, and I am very excited to see what else he puts out in the future. But hey, if you've stuck around this long, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it so we can get to 5,000 by the end of the day. Follow us over on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button. Check out our Patreon page as well as our Discord. Both of those links in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly and stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all. Damn, that's good.